Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Port Charles Chat. I'm Mom,
And I'm Brandon.
and thank you so much for joining us today. Let us begin with Kristina. This is, first of all, just to clarify, this is the week ending of August 23rd. So we're going to talk about the week of August 12th through the 23rd. Um, Christina, when we last spoke, Christina was arrested. She was arrested by Jagger um, because it was believed Jagger accused her of wanting to kill or to do harm to Ava. He did take her to he took her to jail to the police station where Alexis did fight for her along with Sonny, and and then she went before a judge, and the judge realized there was not enough evidence at this point in time, and so they did release Christina. Later on, Ava did testify or made a test. Or did testify that Christina threatened to kill her. She did this by just speaking to an officer and making a statement. Um, Sonny, Anna, and Trina questioned Ava in regards, and they questioned her at different times because Ava's story seems to have changed a little bit, and nowhere in her original testimony did she ever say that Christina threatened her. And so they all have kind of they've all kind of just wondered about this and questioned why she's changing her statement. Um, in the midst of all this, Sonny goes to see Ava and he offers to protect her since he knows that Jagger is behind all of this. Um, and so she says that Ava's a little confused. She doesn't quite know what to do. And then Jagger just shows up, and then Jagger has his own people, and they want to protect her too. And Ava decides to go with Jagger in regards to being protected. Brandon, what were your thoughts of this? Christina arrested, Jagger, and the whole scenario.
Yeah, I mean that certainly was an interesting storyline, and we should also mention too that the charges were not dropped. However, the same judge that Jagger went against earlier, she declared that Jagger was out of order and that Christina be released immediately. Again, did not drop the charges though. So,
Yeah.
but I kind of like that Sonny was just smiling at Jagger this whole time. Uh, didn't say a word, just like Alexis told him to, and that Kate's just cracked. And Jagger's like, I mean, Sonny's like, did I do it right? In terms of just sitting there and just staring at Jagger the whole time to make him break. And so I think Sonny's the real MVP for that part, though.
Yes, Sonny was. He did what he was supposed to do. One of the few times he sat still and just kind of watched from a distance. Yeah. And then just to change the scene just a little bit, Lulu, who has been in a coma for years and years, is now being featured again. And so Laura finds out that Lulu's health is changing and that she's been brought to General Hospital in order to be evaluated and for more testing to occur. Um, Laura is very concerned about her daughter. She calls Dante and lets Dante know about her also, and Dante, who is also concerned. Um, but Laura decides that she really needs to reach Charlotte because Charlotte is Lulu's daughter, and she thinks this is the time where she might need to see her mother. Of course, as we know, Charlotte is MIA with her daddy, Valentine, and so it'll be interesting to see whether or not they pick up the storyline just a little bit later. But everyone at this point in time is going to go see um, Lulu while she's in the hospital. And then on another note, the funeral was held for the baby. They, meaning TJ and Molly, did finally decide on a name for the baby, and they named the baby Irene Marie. And this is after TJ's grandmother, and so which is of course Stella's sister. And so it was a very emotional scene for Stella to find out that the baby was named after her, and that Molly, of course, was in agreement because Molly has been kind of, I don't want to say out of it, but she has not dealt with this well. And so it was nice to see she and TJ together as they made these decisions. Um, in the midst of all this, we find out Christina actually had been calling the baby Adela, which is Sonny's, the name of Sonny's mother. So that kind of came out the day of the funeral also. Um, the funeral itself kind of went where Christina did go up and she did speak about the baby and how she felt. Molly and TJ kind of were just, they just kind of sat there for this particular time period. When it came time for at the cemetery where they were laying flowers on the graveside, everyone did it. And then when Christina came up, she whispered underneath in her under her breath, and she calls the baby Adela. Well, that in itself actually changed the whole scene of the funeral. Well, of the graveside. um, at that point in time, both Molly and Christina got into a big fight. Molly did kind of start this fight, but because she heard it, she turned around and she accused Christina of, taking the baby, wanting to take the baby. And then at some point in time, Christina did say that yes, she was never going to give the baby to Molly. And Alexis had some court documents that were started by Christina indicating that she wanted to fight for her baby. Alexis, at that point in time, really didn't plan to do anything. I think she was just kind of holding the paperwork. She put the paperwork aside while Molly was at Alexis's house, and so I don't think it was paperwork that was meant to be found. I did feel sorry for Alexis during the whole time period because she really didn't know which daughter to go to. Brand, did I leave anything out for that particular scene?
I mean, one thing I think is interesting is that, out of all of the people that we see there at the gravesite, we see, like Alexis and Rick Lansing, both who are parents of Molly. However, TJ's family is not at the gravesite, interestingly enough.
I didn't quite catch that. I thought they were initially.
So I think if I proceed to correct, I think like we may have seen them like laying flowers, but in terms of when everything's finishing, they were already back at the house and discussing who exactly Rick is.
Yeah, okay. I do remember that. And yes, and Rick, just for those who are new turning in, Rick Lansing is just like you said, that is Molly's father. Molly's father was a prominent figure in General Hospital many, many years ago. And I can't remember how many years he was on the show. He wasn't necessarily a good character per se, but he is also Sonny's brother. Just for those people who don't know, Rick Lansing's Sonny's half brother. All right. And then to move on from there, the other scene that's going on while the funeral's going on, we have Lois. Lois, who is part of Deception, and she was on a TV show in order to provide some information about the products. And so as she goes up there and speaks, the audience was not that happy with her accent. Um, it's a little heavy. And so they weren't happy with her accent. And so as people were calling in, they did mention that, and that made Lois pretty well, it upset Lois that people were commenting on that. But the guest host actually spoke up for her, and it was later perceived as being a good thing. But Lois was still very conscious of it. All right. And then let's see. The last thing is, well, two more things. Jason and Anna, they speak once more. And Anna says something who I thought was really interesting. She says that she's going to go after Sonny, and she hopes that Jason will not be in the middle of it. So that was pretty interesting. And then Nina and Ava had a bonding moment, of all things. And so that came in the middle of everything. They both had a bonding moment where they spent some time talking about everything that went on. And Ava actually told the truth and said everything that happened and talked about the suitcase and how Christina tripped and, and how she was nervous. So it was interesting to hear that Nina actually knows the truth. And so those are the highlights that, as I remember. Brandon, did I leave anything out?
Well, there's one thing that you left out. And one thing I'll add too is that while Ava did tell the truth to Nina, it wasn't quite 100%, but it was I think the closest that she has told anyone, minus Trina. Because there were some things like Christina in rage and threatening to hurt her and all that stuff, which is highly exaggerated, but the rest is largely the truth. But one thing is that we do get Marshall back.
Yes, we did have Marshall back, and that's something I'm going to go over in just a little bit. But yes, it was nice to see him. He's been missing for quite a while.
Yeah, and there was something else I was about to mention too. Oh, yes, and Tracy Quartermain being there with Cody and Violet and attempting to not be with Sasha.
Yes, yes. Tracy was more trying to have a nice personality, but although I'm liking what they're doing with Tracy. Um, what's more, I'm liking what they're doing with Tracy. They're making her character very nice and approachable, and she was actually very nice to Lois in regards to what she said with deception, and that she gave her a nice compliment when she was finished speaking. All right, Brandon, are you ready to get down to the nitty gritty and decide our storyline of the week?
Yeah, I think so. Now, just make one more note is that we do sort of get a redemption esque thing for Natalia very briefly. Even though that was mostly last week, we get the final touchstone to that this week. In that, I think everyone's coming to their senses in the sense of realizing that okay, maybe it's not ideal the reason why she's here and some of her past remarks, but we think she'll do a good job in the role leading up to that interview, and then which she disappears in the next scene.
Yeah, that was very odd. She was just gone. But yeah. All right, Brandon. Storyline of the week. I'll go for this. Go first for this, then I'll let you speak. Of course, I am going to pick the Christina Molly slash TJ. That to me is the storyline for the week. I thought they did a really nice job in kind of capturing the feelings. I am feeling sorry for Christina because she truly loved her baby. Then I'm feeling sorry for Molly too, and then I'm actually liking TJ a little bit more. I thought TJ did a nice job when Molly was at the graveside. Not Molly, but Christina was at the graveside and she's on her knees. He does go down and ask about her and ask if she's okay, which surprised me, but I was glad to see that he did do that. And Alexis, I will say, I did, like I said before, I do feel sorry for her because you could see her torn between her two daughters.
Yes, and I will 100% pick that as well. And I think the actresses for Molly and Christina, I think just did a superb job in that role. TJ as well, although it did make me miss that Blaze wasn't there because I think Blaze would have been there.
Yeah, Blaze would have been there too. And then performer of the week, I'm actually doing the same. I'm saying the same three because I thought all three of them did a great job for performing this week.
Yeah, and to that, I will add Alexis to it as well.
Yes, 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 I agree with that. All right. And so for the amusing things for this week, there were a couple things I was amused about. First of all, I was amused by the Lois storyline and her accent. I thought that was kind of funny to watch. It was interesting to see how I think Lois's accent is something that's it's been talked about for a while, but it's just kind of understood. And so it's interesting to see that she was affected by that, but I think it's part of her personality and her charm. So that's something. So I was surprised that they tackled it, but at the same time, I thought they did a really nice job of just kind of talking about it. And then Tracy and Violet, kind of what you mentioned also. I really like the way they banter with each other, and I thought they did a really nice job. Even with the Cody scene, I thought they did a nice job with that. And then Sonny bantering with Jagger and Ava. I thought that was kind of funny too. I mean, it was just rather amusing because Sonny has just been so uptight for so long, and it was nice to see him just kind of smiling and just kind of, having some fun with it. Did you have any amusing scenes, Brandon?
Yeah, I definitely, first of all, fully agree with all of those. Uh, and let's see. Oh, what is that? Definitely those. And I kind of like the sort of snarkiness between Ava and Nina because, the rules were just reversed not that long ago where Nina was the one in trouble and Ava really didn't want to help her, but was no stranger to making snide remarks. And now the tables have turned. And so while Nina is a bit sympathetic, she can't just help but to sort of little like mock the situation a little bit, especially when Ava threw her phone or fell down, and Nina's like, "That might be important or something."
Yeah. Yes, it was funny. All right, I've got a new category for us, Brandon, and it's something that we have not talked about. This is a happy to see you return category. And this is, and let me give you the names of the people who I want to talk about. First of all, there's Brad. I don't even know if you know who Brad is, but Brad Brad was been on the show for many many years, and he's been off and on. And Brad has well, at least he came back this week, and it was nice to see him. The banter, and maybe I should include that as the amusing scene also. But he had a nice banter with Terry in regards to Brad has a little bit of a history of changing. Um, Brad is a lab technician, so he has changed test results multiple times. He's been in jail. Brad's just been busy. And so it was nice to see that banter as he was kind of begging for his job back again. Then we also have Lucky, who we didn't touch about at all. Lucky is Luke and Laura's son, and he was on the show for many many years, and he is returning. I don't know for how long, but he is returning to the show, and so they did show him at the last minute, once more kidnapped because of course when you return to a show, you've got to be kidnapped with something on your head, and so it was nice to see Lucky back. Um, and then we've got to talk. Curtis is back. I know Curtis goes off and on, but it was nice to see Curtis there. And then his father was there. And like I said, really, really nice to see Marshall back. Um, and then Cyrus returned. And Cyrus has been MIA, doing who knows what. He claims to be speaking to, he claims that he speaks to Lulu on a regular basis. But it was fun to watch the banter between Laura and Cyrus as they're amused with each other. And, um, and so it was nice to see him return also. I will say initially I was not a fan of Cyrus, but somewhere down the line I kind of started to like him. So this was the week of all these people kind of just showing back up. Did I leave any out for you, Brandon?
What's so funny about that is so many of them were kind of just randomly thrown in there, and I mean, and of course we saw Rick Lansing return back as well. I
Yeah,
don't know if
yeah.
we're really excited to see him back per se. That sounds like some more drama spewing, but yeah, it seems like there's quite a lot of returns, and like the one with Terry at the very beginning was completely unexpected, but a pleasant welcome.
Yes, yes. And then I have a Brandon. Where did they go? Specifically, Olivia and Ned. They've just kind of disappeared. I don't know where Olivia is. She's been missing for the last few weeks. And then Ned, I think, has shown up at some point, but he seems to be missing again. So I'm not quite sure. I don't know why Tracy's not asking for her son, but they're they're just kind of missing. Are there any that you notice have disappeared, Brandon?
Not any per se have disappeared, but I will note that ever since this whole storyline with Alexis and Ava have gone, is that the storylines for Carly have like exponentially shrunk.
Yeah, Carly. Maybe they're all on vacation. It is in the summer, but yeah, Carly. You're right. Carly storylines have gone down too. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with all of them. All right. And I do have a fast forward moment. And of course, the fast forward moment, and I'm sorry, and this is not going to be a shock to anyone, has to do with Sasha. Sasha was once more back on there. She does not have a storyline. I'm not quite sure what her point is right now, besides to fix food for the Quartermains. And I'm not quite sure if she did that this week. But anyway, Sasha was on for like just a minute, but she didn't have to be there. I will say, I like Cody. It's just Sasha that annoys me. So I like Cody. All right. Did you have a fast forward moment, Brandon?
No, I mean I don't think I really had a fast forward moment. However, I will say that not as a fast forward moment, but just as a thing that I would like to uh, personally fast forward is that we had week after week of these heartbreaking storylines with with killing off Gregory Chase to Finn's alcoholism to sending him off. Both of those actors leaving to. We even see Valentine and him and Charlotte leaving, and now Blaze has left, and people falling out of windows. I mean, like I kind of want a calm week where people can like play chess. So we had one of those a few months ago, I think, during the writer strike, where they're just playing chess for a day. Can we get that back?
Well, it's backgammon, Brandon. They were playing backgammon also. Let's see. And then the what will happen. And so things I'm looking forward to within the week or next week's. Of course, there's Lulu. It'll be interesting to see what their plans are for Lulu. Will she wake up? I don't know. But hopefully they do plan. Although I read that they recast, I don't know how true that is, but it'll be interesting to see what they do with Lulu. Rick, although I'm not a fan of Rick, it'll be interesting to see what they plan to do with him. And then we've got Lucky, because, like I said, once more he came with the bag over his head. What is Lucky up to? Who has kidnapped him? Where has he been for these last few years? And what will Laura say? And does he know where his father is? So those are the things that, because they did have brought up Luke several times. Um, so those are the things that I'm looking forward to as what will happen next. Do you have any what will happen next, Brandis?
Yeah, we're Scott.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. That's Scotty. Scott is MIA also. So it'll be interesting to see where Scotty is.
Yeah, and does he have the pharmacist with him? And something I've noticed, two things I've noticed recently. One of them is that characters getting random phone calls, like Anna, I think a week or so ago, got a random phone call saying that there was a trespassing incident that she had to go to. The week before that, I think, what was it? Kevin got a phone call that a very important phone call that he had that he needed to attend to, um, and then today, I mean, not today, but this past week that we're discussing, Ava ended by calling up somebody to help out. Nina ended by having a phone call to help out Ava. Who did she call? A part of me says it's going to end up being like Michael or McConkey, just because those are the only two people we've seen her associate with lately. Um, so, what's with the phone calls that don't seem to have resolution? And also, I've noticed we've had a lot of like little flashbacks and little sequences for like breakups and deaths and killing off people. And so we had one recently for Kristina and Molly, I guess, for the baby. But I'm hoping it's just for the baby and that we're able to move past this and not the relationship between Kristina and Molly.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. Same here. Well, we appreciate everyone joining and watching. Make sure that you subscribe so you can see when we have another post about Port Charles. And like I said, once more, thank you for watching, everyone.
And we'll see you next time.
All right, bye bye, everyone.